Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up because today we are talking about very easy transitions in your makeup routine from taking you from winter into spring. So let's get started. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so let's get started with the tutorial. First things first, we want to make sure that we neutralize the face so that under eye, on top of the eyelid, and any redness or blotchiness that might be poking through. So first I'm going to grab my NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. I'm going to take whatever is on the wand and I'm going to roll it on my ring finger, and then I'm going to split it because otherwise it would be way too much product. So splitting both of that, and then very, very gently placing it on the lid, smoothing it out. This creates a really great canvas for eyeshadows. It also, because it's tinted, gets rid of any little veins that are poking through, which absolutely happens as we get older. Now that the top of my eyelid is neutralized, you can see already everything looks a little bit more neutral, a little bit brighter. Now we're going to brighten up the under eye with some corrector. This is light to medium bisque. Again, I'm going to take my ring finger and just gently pat that anywhere where I'm seeing a little bit of discoloration, making sure I'm getting into this little inner corner as well. And I can always go back in with a brush and make sure that everything is nice and smooth. Make sure I didn't gunk up any area. And with that, you want to take a really nice fluffy brush. If you use a dense brush, that's better for applying the product. A fluffier brush, something like the 57 from Sephora, will absolutely make sure that everything is blended into the skin and just looks very natural. So blending out the edges, bouncing my brush where I feel like I might need to keep that coverage a little bit better. And the same thing on the eyelid, making sure I didn't gunk up my eyelid with too much silicone. So now the face has been neutralized and now I'm ready to go in with the look. The look that we are doing today is very minimal on the eye. The thing that we're really focusing on is the graphic liner and also just the brighter color on the lip and the cheek. So we can absolutely start to do complexion. I am going to save my concealer for a little bit later, but we can absolutely go in with our foundation. So of course I'm using Lisa Eldridge's Seamless Skin. It is my favorite foundation I have ever used. It's right up there with Giorgio Armani. I feel like it even kind of functions in a similar way. So if you have tried that foundation and love it, I would absolutely try Lisa's. Hers is a little bit less watery feeling. It definitely feels like you get a little bit more coverage, but I love the color range, and I also love that Lisa's foundation seems to play well with lots of different products, where sometimes I felt like the Armani one needed some very specific hand holding sometimes, and just a little bit on my forehead. So this is one pump, and I have a lot of products on my skin, just making sure that I'm nice and hydrated, making sure that I'm taking care of that vitamin C. I did make a morning skincare routine, so if you're curious about what I'm currently using and lots of tips and tricks for a morning skincare routine, make sure that you check that video out from a few weeks ago because it is chock full of tips and tricks and also product recommendations. So now I'm just taking whatever is left on the back of my hand and I'm just bouncing my brush, making sure again that every area of the face is blending in, and then blending just a little bit down the neck. I don't have a lot of neck showing, so I'm not worried about everything speaking to each other so much today. It's really just a light, easy, breezy makeup look. So now that we have the foundation on, let's go back to the eyes, leave our face alone for a moment. I'm going to go in with Cinder Smoke, also from Lisa Eldridge, and I'm going to tightline my eyes. So very gently lifting up the lid and then getting into that waterline area. You can also use a black. A dark blue would be really, really cool. It would absolutely pop the whites of your eyes a little bit better. So if you're feeling like you're a little bloodshot that morning and you don't want to do eye drops, try a really dark blue, a navy midnight blue around the whites of your eyes. That will absolutely help to pop the white. And you can see that that just gives a little bit more definition between the whites of the eyes and the lash line. And we always want a thicker lash line because it just looks youthful and it just creates a little bit more contrast, which is great. Today we are going back to our MAC shadows, and I'm going to be mixing in Cork and Charcoal Brown together in the crease, and then I'm also going to be playing with a little bit of Swiss chocolate to deepen up that socket area, and then going in with rice paper on the actual lid. So I'm going to take my 201 into Cork. Cork is such a great neutral color. And I'm just very lightly going to start on that outer third of my lid, go up into that socket, find my socket, and then let the brush do all the work of bringing it up into the crease. And if you have lots of space between your socket and your eyebrow, then you can bring it up quite a bit. So right now we're just trying to create a little bit of definition. Cork, again, if you have a similar skin tone to me, is a great neutral one to have in your makeup wardrobe because it's a color that you would naturally see on the skin or could naturally see on the skin, maybe with a bronzer, or if you just have a little bit of a darkness right there. And that's exactly what we're looking for with easy makeup, or that quick makeup that you have to have on a daily basis, kind of in your back pocket. This is a great place to just kind of start, reset your makeup, is starting with these neutral tones, and then you can really see where else you want to play up your makeup. Now I'm going to go in with a 217 on Charcoal Brown just on the side of my brush, and with a little bit of Swiss chocolate. So I didn't put it on the tip of my brush, I put it on the side, and I'm just going to place that right on that outer third just to give me a little bit of a lift, and also to really play up the rice paper, which I'm going to be putting down next. Bringing that into the socket, and then just starting to gently blend up into the crease. And these colors, again, really help to define the eye without going overboard. I'm not using a really dark brown in the outer parts here. I'm going to use that with my eyeliner, but it just kind of lifts the face and gives the viewer somewhere to focus on rather than just kind of bouncing all around. So now I'm going to go in with my 203 with some rice paper and place it from my inner corner to meet up with the eyeshadow that I just did. Rice paper is a great one, especially if you have hazel, brown, green eyes, because it just has a hint of yellow to it, but it's not a gold. So if you feel like you've used shroom or a color like shroom, which is, it's not quite a frosty, but it is definitely on the whiter side of things, and you felt like maybe that drained the color in your face, or it's just not working with your spring and summer wardrobe, try rice paper, because it is a subtle difference that makes a big difference with your makeup. I find myself reaching for rice paper in the spring and the summer, and sometimes even in the fall if I'm wearing lots of warmer tones. And that is a really great way to just make a subtle change in your makeup to go along with the season. Now I'm going to go in with ground coffee and just smudge that right into the lash line, and eventually go back and do a liquid liner. Massaging that right into the roots of the lashes. I'm not too worried about creating a great line. I can go back and do that with my brush. Right now I'm just trying to get a line going. So I smudge that liner with my finger. You can also smudge it with a Q-tip if you feel like your finger isn't working or it's just like a little bit too big. So I'm going to do a little bit of a lift with ground coffee on the ends, just to kind of mark where I want that liquid liner to go, kind of to give myself a guiding spot to start with. I'm going to go in with the Kitten Flick from Lisa Eldridge, follow that line that I just did, and then draw back in. And do you see how that just lifts the face? You get like this really crazy eye lift, and it'll be even more when you use your concealer. So now we are going to go in with our mascara, finish up the eye, and then start to add in the detail with brows, cheeks, lips, concealer, all of that good stuff. I'm going to start with the Big Ego from Tarte. This is a great volumizing mascara, getting right into the roots of the lashes, and then I'm twirling my mascara wand as I'm wiggling up. So it's a lot of movement, but it works. This mascara is a little bit on the wet side. So if you have trouble with things kind of falling down throughout the day, you will want to follow this up with a drier mascara to lock it into place, or to try a primer as well. Sometimes primers can do a really good job of holding on to that wet formula, which is usually going to be found in a volumizing mascara because it almost wants it to kind of clump up on the lash to create that look of volume on your lashes. It's kind of clumping up on itself. A drier mascara, like the Kitten Lash Mascara from Eldridge, is going to pretty much always have a wand, a silicone wand, and be a little bit on the drier side because it wants to lengthen, it wants to stretch those lashes out. So combining those two, you get this really great effect with your lashes, almost like a falsy lash look. Again, you can do this as well with primer, but you can also use two mascaras. I like finishing off with Lisa's because I know that it is not going to give me major clumps or anything like that. I trust this formula to be the finishing touch on my mascara routine. Now we're going to go in with brows using the brow definer. I like the bigger one so much better than the brow is for me personally. However, if you have to do a lot of detail work, then I would go for the Brow Wiz instead of the brow definer, because if you don't know how to use the brow definer, it can get very intense very quickly. Just going in the same direction as my hair is growing naturally. And this is an ash brown, which is such a great color, I think, for anybody who has a little bit of like a brunette base and then blonde on top. And then we are ready to finish up complexion because our eye area is looking really good. We are going to go in with our concealer. I'm going to do the same thing I did with my primer. I'm going to split it on my finger and I'm going to tap it onto the skin and then blend out with a brush. But there's so much product on that wand. If you were just to go straight in with the product right away, all of that would be on one eye. And that is just way too much. Taking the 57 and just making sure that, again, I'm blending out those edges and bouncing where I need a little extra coverage. But we want everything to appear as flawless as possible without looking like a mannequin. We don't want that plasticky looking skin. We still want it to look like skin, but we want to put our best foot forward. If I have any left on my hand, then I'm going to bring it down the center of my nose. Now we are ready for lips, and then we are going to powder. So I'm going to go in with Charm, which is a really great bubblegum pink. So if you're wearing blues or anything really pastel, this is a great one. I'm not going to go in with a lipstick because I want to keep this very light and carefree, and I think a gloss gives you just that hint of spring without going full on spring. Of course, I'm going in with my PIXI blush as well, and then we will powder with a little bit of Hourglass translucent powder. Also, if you feel like you maybe overdid it, go back in with your foundation brush, bounce that right on top, and that just gives you a really lovely seamless look. Going in with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder with a super fluffy brush, we are not going to be overly careful with this look. This is a get it done look, but also feel like you are participating in the season just by lightening up a few things. We are also going in with a little bit of bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury on the BK Beauty bronzer brush. Just going under the cheekbone, sweeping up onto the bone, and then sweeping back. I like doing my blush first. It's another kind of way to make sure you didn't overdo your blush. So do your blush first and then do your bronzer, and it just creates, again, this really lovely seamless look on the cheek. And that is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching this easy spring makeup look. I think it's really fun to just tweak a few things from season to season to get you in that spirit, get you participating in what is happening right now. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday. Make sure you are watching the shorts in between to see behind the scenes and more tips and tricks to make your life a little bit easier and a little bit more glossy. And I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!